Hey everyone! What if I told you that up to 80% of the time you spend studying might be completely, totally wasted? Crazy, right? Well, welcome to today's explainer. Look, if you're watching this, you probably really love to learn, but I bet you've also felt that sheer, overwhelming exhaustion that comes from trying to just force new information into your brain. Today, we are going to flip the script. We're acting as the architects of our own learning. Our goal is nothing short of transforming how we learn by completely shifting our mindset. We're diving into the art of autodidacticism, which, yeah, is just a really fancy word for self-directed learning. And we're going to figure out exactly how to work smarter, not harder, to get you the absolute best results.
But first, let's be totally honest with ourselves and address the elephant in the room. Why does studying sometimes feel literally impossible? I mean, we've all been there. You sit down at your desk, you stare blankly at a textbook or your laptop screen, and it feels like a physical struggle just to get through a single paragraph. You're fighting off the constant buzz of your phone, battling that creeping sense of burnout, and just wondering why on earth the material won't stick. It's frustrating, it's exhausting, and it honestly feels like you're putting in maximum effort for zero reward. If you've ever felt this, trust me, you are definitely not alone.
So here's our architectural blueprint for today's explainer. We're going to cover the self-study struggle, hard work versus smart work, proven smart study techniques, building your daily routine, common mistakes to avoid, and finally we'll wrap up with the Smart Learner's Blueprint.
All right, let's jump right into section 1, the self-study struggle.
You know, mastering self-study is arguably the most essential skill you can have in modern life. But wow, is it challenging. And we usually struggle because of a few common culprits: a sheer lack of focus, poor planning, procrastination, endless distractions from our phones and social media, and honestly, just studying without clear goals. Whether you're trying to upskill for a promotion at work or you're just learning something new for fun, without a clear goal or a plan, you're just going to inevitably fall victim to that phone buzzing right next to you. And this combination, it leads to what I call brute force studying. You're basically throwing hours and hours at the wall, just hoping something sticks. But because you don't have that focus and direction, you just end up exhausted without seeing any real results.
Moving right along to section 2, hard work versus smart work.
Okay, if there's one massive paradigm shift you take away from this entire explainer, it's understanding the vital difference between exhausting yourself and actually learning efficiently. On one hand, you've got the old, really painful way of studying, hard work. This is passive reading, where your eyes just sort of glaze over the text. It's logging super long hours at the library just to feel productive and cramming the night before a big exam. But on the other hand, you have smart work. Now, this involves active recall, tightly focused study sessions, and spaced repetition. Truly successful learners realize that, yeah, effort is definitely required, but it has to be directed smartly. When you combine your dedication with these highly efficient methods, you don't just learn better, you actually get your free time back. And who doesn't want that?
Which brings us perfectly to section 3, proven smart study techniques.
So the single most powerful tool in your entire arsenal is spaced repetition. Get this, our brains are actually designed to forget things to save space. It's a real phenomenon known as the forgetting curve. In fact, a German psychologist named Hermann Ebbinghaus discovered we can lose up to 70% of what we learn in just 24 hours. No way, right? So to hack this, we use spaced repetition. It involves reviewing information at gradually increasing intervals over time to prevent you from forgetting it. Instead of reviewing a topic every single day, you review it after 1 day, then maybe 3 days, then a week, and then a month. It guarantees that what you study today is actually remembered weeks or even months later when you truly need it.
And its absolute perfect partner is active recall. Think of this kind of like going to the mental gym. Active recall means actively stimulating your memory to pull out a piece of information, rather than just passively rereading it. Look, reading a textbook chapter 3 times with a bright yellow highlighter feels like you're studying, but it's largely an illusion of competence. Closing the book and forcing your brain to explain the concept from scratch, basically testing yourself, is like lifting a heavy mental weight. That struggle of pulling the information out of your brain, that is exactly what strengthens the neural pathway.
Now, these concepts combine into a super actionable 3-step workflow that you can literally start using today. Step 1, learn the core concept. Step 2, close the material and test yourself immediately. Boom, that's your active recall. Step 3, schedule times to review that exact same concept tomorrow, next week, and next month. And there's your spaced repetition. It is an incredibly straightforward yet unbelievably powerful system.
But, hey, your SMART toolkit shouldn't stop there. Have you heard of the Pomodoro technique? It acts like interval training for your brain. So, 25-minute highly focused sprints followed by a 5-minute rest. It efficiently structures your focus so you literally never burn out. You can also use mind mapping for visual learning.
specific note-taking methods to organize your thoughts, and practice testing to simulate a real-world exam environment. Oh, and one of my absolute personal favorites, teaching others. Seriously, if you want to learn something incredibly fast, try explaining it to a friend. If they get it, you've mastered it for sure.
Let's move to Section 4, Building Your Daily Routine. Okay, to protect these brilliant new techniques, you really need a rock-solid, highly productive routine. That means establishing proactive morning study habits that set the tone for your whole day. And you've got to treat your time blocks like unbreakable appointments with yourself. Weekly planning and tracking your progress will absolutely keep you moving forward. But most importantly, you have to master effective break management and, I can't stress this enough, eliminate distractions. Setting up a dedicated physical study environment and strictly managing your phone usage, like literally just putting it in another room, these are completely non-negotiable if you want to improve your concentration and let those smart study techniques do their magic.
And remember, technology should be your ally here, never your enemy. Yes, phones can be a massive distraction, but when used intentionally, tech profoundly amplifies smart study. Digital note-taking organizes massive amounts of info seamlessly across all your devices. Online learning resources give you diverse explanations and instant practice tests for when you inevitably get stuck. And AI tools? They are incredible for quickly summarizing massive concepts, so you can jump straight into the active recall phase. The whole goal is to use technology strategically as a focused aid and never as a mindless escape.
All right, on to Section 5, Common Mistakes to Avoid.
You absolutely must guard against the behaviors of the exhausted hard worker we talked about earlier. Multitasking, cramming, passive reading, and a lack of revision will immediately derail your progress. Multitasking in particular actively destroys your ability to comprehend complex topics, because guess what? Your brain simply cannot focus intensely on two things at once. I also really want to highlight unrealistic schedules. Trying to block out 8 solid hours of intense active recall will inevitably lead straight to burnout. Smart study is about being realistic, pacing yourself, and trusting the process of consistent, focused effort.
And avoiding those pitfalls requires understanding the fundamental difference between motivation and discipline. This is huge. Motivation is just an emotion. It's fleeting, it's totally unreliable, and honestly, some days it simply won't be there. Discipline, on the other hand, is habit-based. It's consistent. Long-term study habits are built on a growth mindset and continuous improvement, and that stems directly from discipline. You don't just wait around for inspiration to strike to start studying, you lean on the disciplined routine you have so meticulously built.
Finally, Section 6. The Smart Learner's Blueprint.
Let's just imagine what a day as a masterful self-learner actually looks like. In the morning, you don't just dive in randomly, right? You set clear goals and time block your schedule. Midday, you jump right into a Pomodoro session utilizing active recall, testing yourself on new, challenging material in sharp 25-minute bursts. Then, in the afternoon, you take a very necessary long break, followed by a spaced repetition review of older material to just really cement it into your long-term memory. See? This smart methodology is highly structured, entirely achievable, and deliberately builds in the rest your brain desperately needs to recover. So, if there is only one thing you take away today, let it be this. Smart work doesn't mean doing more. It means getting your life back. Focus, plan, and be consistent. That is the core takeaway of our explainer today. We've talked about all these wonderful tools, Pomodoros, active recall, time blocking, but ultimately, this matters because it empowers you to achieve significantly better results with drastically less wasted effort. Learning should be a joy, right? A lifelong adventure of discovery, not some brutal slog.
So I've got to leave you with this provocative final thought. Will you work harder today or smarter? The choice is entirely up to you. It's time to ditch the brute force cramming, embrace the techniques of the architect, and start your smart study journey right now. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and happy learning.